This is our Sundance. I think we got a problem here, right there. I'm suspecting we got a back wall issue. Wow, talk about putting more on. Look, that's like it's got to be almost an inch worth of die-core on there. Let's see, probably about $75. That's my guess, 5 tubes. I think about 15 bucks a tube, I believe it is. That's crazy. But see, this is what they want you to do, go around. You keep putting more on. It's your cash cow. It's their cash cow. They know it doesn't work. They know it. So the only reason that wouldn't work, if you took interior caulking and you went outside and used it, UV light would break it down. And that is my suspicion. Now, I think this is Forest River. Look at that special design right there. Plumbing, stink pipes right under the vent. Isn't that great? Hopefully that fan will blow out instead of in, because if it blows in, you're going to be sucking in all that damn stink pipe from the black and gray tank, right? That's gross. That is just gross. You better be on a keto diet, that's for sure. You got another issue over there with that skylight. That's just a terrible design. I don't know why they didn't move that. I know there's a chase wall there, but sometimes you got to put an elbow just to kind of get around from this. We're going to have to figure that out. That's just, I'm never surprised or disappointed. All right, if you got one of these antennas, that boot right there, seal where that black boot meets the wire. Pull that boot up and seal it, because the water will trickle down the wire and get in there, chronic moisture, and it will rot all that out. So this is about us right here though. And we're checking to make sure all the lights work. There's our Sundance. So you can see it all, it's just coming apart, right? That's where it starts failing. Then you get water in there. They don't care. That's why I tell people, do not buy a coach for everybody. Someone set it up on social media. Don't buy a coach for 1 month. 1 month across the board, across the country. Don't buy one. New or used, don't buy one. Trust me, they'll get the idea. They'll get it. If people say, hey, aren't you worried about getting put out of business? No, I'm not. There's no shortage of crappy campers. But it's not fair to go out and spend all this kind of money on these coaches. They have to bring to my shop. And I already semi-retired once. I wouldn't mind actually trying to do the whole thing. So, but you can tell they get all this. We're going to try and get that off there. It's a brand new lens too. I'm going to try and take this, or at least it looks it anyway. It's pretty close to new. I'm going to see if we can get that off of there and salvage that lens. I'd like to. Sometimes getting this off is just kind of persnickety, but I doubt it probably stuck, because you can see how I'm just kind of working it. So I don't think it stuckified all that well. And then that's about it on our Sundance. And obviously got a issue here. And typically on here, the way they do these, I think I have my knife on me. This you can look at your roof and you can see all those little checks in there, little cracks. I call that eggshelling, like a hard-boiled egg when you go to crack it. In the commercial business, it's called gatoring, but it's a lot bigger, much like an alligator back, right? So that means this roof, the material itself is wore out, but it's expired. When you look on here, you want to make sure you don't have any slits. So what happens to rubber is it shrinks, and when it shrinks, it puts tension on here. And when it puts tension on there, the only thing on protecting the edge is some tape. That's it. There's not like a nice, we're going to be putting a piece of aluminum trim on there to make sure that it stays, we don't use rubber either. So I've never installed one roll of this, but you can see like right here, see that? Okay, so that doesn't look like much. That will aggravate, get down here, and then you start getting D-lam, and you start getting other roof issues. So if you've got, there's another one here, and some of it could be from hitting tree branches on here, dragging across. You know, that's a possibility. But you're looking for little slits. You can see like in here, all that cracking. Make sure this is sealed. That's what you want to do. These aren't necessarily DIY videos, but I like to show what we're up against when we go to do it. So, Obviously the awnings could have seen better days. And here, already getting dry. Got a couple rips in here. Check out this other one over here. We're just starting to set this all up. So I wanted to do a video, keep everybody busy. You can hear the vacuum on the other side. We're trying to get all that ready to redeck. The same thing, you can see this one here. These all need to be sealed. Look at that screw right there. That's not even tight. It looks like it's moving. Yes. But these all need to be resealed. Water's going to get down inside there. I don't know what's going on with this, but we'll investigate that maybe and see what's up with that, why it's like that. Top of the window. These are things you need to pay attention to. This is what will cause your coach to fail. So, and then you come in and you go, wow, I got all this damage. Same thing with the light. Get around there, get the screws on the light. You gotta get all that. Like I said, all around here. So definitely need to get that done. Let me put this on here. We protect the whole entire coach. We just threw this on here right now. We're gonna pull this apart, open this up and protect the screen. Then we'll put something on here to protect the awning. Same with the other. We got all these drop pads going on inside, so we don't get booger inside there, get anything dirty. We do the best we can to make sure we protect the customer's coach. We just don't go in there, and it takes a little bit of extra time, but it's just the way it is, you know. We try to have respect for folks' people's customers' possessions here. All right, let's get to work, see what we can do. Really suspect I'll be buying a new one of those. We'll see. All right, we have got some rot down in here, and on the other side, the passenger side, you got some rot down in there. You can see this board. Look at that board all chewed up. You can see all this here. So, and they glued this one down, surprisingly. Look at there. That has some glue in it. Awesome. Hardly ever see that. I'm going to go see what year this is. It's an older camper because they don't do them on the newer ones. So they glued them. They actually put a few screws on the perimeter, and then they put some staples on there. So back then, hey, that was pretty good. I don't know what year this is, but I'll find out. And because I like to see like this stuff done. I mean, in the glue, and there's a couple. There's a screw there and a screw there. I mean, obviously they threw the OSB down, but at least it was glued. You know, for the most part, they glued here and here. I don't think they glued the whole entire thing, but I don't know. That one looks like it is. Maybe they just wherever they could reach, right? That's what I'm guessing. So then what we're going to do is take up all of here. We want to check the wires. We want to check all this and make sure that there's nothing in there that's going to compromise those wires. And if there is, we want to try and get a bushing in there. So we got to clean all this out, and then we'll once we clean it out, vacuum it up and everything, we'll see what's up underneath there. We always take the insulation out, and then we'll this one does not. Oh, it's got trunk line over there, so I don't know if there's one. Yep, there they are. So we're going to check all these here, make sure all these joints, look at there, there's one already broke. So we'll check them all, make sure they're all taped up really good, and then we'll redeck it, and then I'm sure we'll have to do something to that back wall. I'm pretty sure the customer's going to come by and take a look at it, since he's a local guy, and he'll give us some direction. All right, so now we have got the roof all cleaned. We went in and checked all of our trunk lines and taped them up. We started putting in insulation, and we also put these on here. We do these because this is just foam, and after a while they rub into here, and then you got a hole. So we put a little piece of aluminum on there and taped everything down. Taped up all around the AC box, so all that cold air is going to go into the cabin instead of getting squeezed out into this so-called attic area. You see we got some over there. So we got all this squared away, and then lastly what we're going to do is put an elbow on here. We're going to move this down away from there. This was a stink pipe, so we're just going to add this here. I got another one. Yeah, we ran out of the white, and I just went and bought some, so I'm going to put some more, a full length of the PVC. So, but that'll sit like that, and we'll bring these pipes over. That's what we're going to do, is move them down, because this is your vent. Remember, they had the pipes there. So some vents, they can draw in and draw out, but if you put it to draw in, you can draw that stink out from your gray and black water tank. That's not cool. So other than that, we got everything done. We got bushings right here. These go in because what'll happen, these ferrules here are really sharp, and you can see how they're starting to compromise the insulation on that wire. And when I say that these manufacturers won't put in one more red cent, that's literally a penny, and they don't want to put it in there. And what's going to happen, you go down the road, eventually you go to flip a light switch and it doesn't work, and then you're going to call me up and you're going to go, hey Joe, you put a screw through something. And no, that's what it is. That's why we do them. So we just want to protect them. I'll put that back, see if I get that back in there left-handed. They don't make left-handed cameras, so it's just a, what is it, a Canon? That's what I use here. It's just a Canon camcorder. I'll get that in later. So then we went on there, and then we got everything else all straightened out over here. So now we're going to load the back with insulation. We do have some back wall issues. We haven't heard back from the customer yet, but we're going to move forward with the rest of this as far down as we can, and then we'll have to deal with that back wall either tomorrow or whenever, because we got to get a roof on this thing so it doesn't hold up the bay. And some of these things, you know, making a decision on a back wall and some of these things is what slows us down. And we like to get them done as quick as we can, and we run into other problems that we're fixing. So, you know, when we have some folks that if we can't get in touch with them as quick as we'd like, then sometimes that'll slow us down as well. Which, again, we don't like it, but it is what it is. All right, so this is how we fixed it up. We did have them come on over here, and we said, the heck with it. We ran that one over there, so that's behind the vent, and this one way forward in front of the vent. We placed all that pipe. That looks nice and clean and a professional. That's what we want. So now we're just going to fill it all in with insulation and get everything laid out and start getting our decking on here. All right, so we got a whole bunch of glue up underneath there. You can see we've already gotten all of this done. I want to get up here and do a quick video. So now we're fastening it all down, and then we still got approval. We did get approval on that back wall. So you can see all the glue we got there. So we're about ready. We only got one more piece. We'll probably stave that off until we get to the back. But we're going to rebuild this back wall, but we're not going to do it the way we normally do it. Normally, I'll go in and put rigid foam, but the owner wanted to forego that because just for an economic reason. So we're going to see what the problems are with this and fix those problems and put everything back. That's all we're going to do. So, but we're not going to start lining it with the rigid foam, like I said, like we normally do. We're just trying to keep the costs down. Quiet on the set. All right. Welcome back to RV Roof Install Video Productions. We are looking at the back wall, obviously, and this is the corner we had rot. You can see all this is already gone. Then we got this. We're trying to see, just assess how bad this is. I don't know if it's just right here, or how far back it goes, or even how far back it goes up there. We're trying to assess that, but you can see all this is all rotted. Piece here, piece there. Somebody has entered the area. That is our driveway alarm telling us somebody's coming down. So we get this bottom piece right here is all rotted. All that's going to come out. And then we get some over here on this corner. And then we also have over here. This is real loose, just kind of flopped off. So it doesn't look like much, but this is dry. We deliberately pulled this siding back so we can get in here and make a cut. This has to go. This is really bad. So that, but then it traveled underneath here. This is D-lam. So what this is this plywood, and if you look at the grain on this, it's going horizontally. And you look at the next grain underneath, it's going vertically. And then the next grain underneath it, depending on how many plies, that's, you may look at plywood when you go and buy it, it'll say 3 ply, 4 ply, whatever. That's like taking paper towels, that would be a ply. You have one going this way, one going that way, one going this way, one going that way, that would be a 4 ply. So that's the way plywood is made, and then it's all laminated together, so when it comes apart, then it delaminates, right? So that's where all that terminology comes from. So this is another piece of it's just corner stuff that's in here that we need to replace to make sure the corner stays tight, obviously, because if you can't screw the corner mold back together, it's all going to wobble apart. You're going to get water back in there, we'll be back doing it. But it seems like the insulation is pretty good. The owner got in here and he started just changing everything. I don't know why he went with pegboard, but that's his deal, I guess. So again, we're not, normally I would take all this out, all the insulation out, and I'd put rigid foam in there. And he was just concerned about the budget, and he really didn't want to put the money into it. So he said, just fix what absolutely needs to be fixed so I can take it down the road. And what we're going to do is just going to be fine. Typically, when I do a back wall rebuild, I want to make sure that we never ever have an issue with it, and it's a lot more rigid or sturdier to kind of minimize some of the racking back and forth. You know, that's what I want to do. And every little bit I can do on that just helps the coach to stay tighter and not want to kind of distress out. So, but anyhow, he doesn't want to go through all that right now. So again, we're going to do all this. We'll stitch it back together. We'll probably put some metal plating in here and there where we think we may need to. But he did all his framing from the inside and came back this way. But obviously all the sheathing on the corner, he couldn't get all that. So we will get it all back together. Well, we have got the piece in here. This ain't good, so we just left it. There's nothing wrong with it. And all this is just for the wall for us to screw something to. So we got all that secured back together. Replace this whole bottom piece right down here. And we added some more strength to a couple of these over here. But what we did on these is we actually put some pocket screws in there. They're all glued. You can probably see all the glue down in there. Everything is always glued that we do. Then we just put these little plates on there. It just kind of helps add a little bit more strength to they're all glued inside there. We did the same over here. That's just water stain. That's what a pocket screw is. You can see the screws in there. So we put this one up in here. We're just trying to make the repairs needed. And then on the top, what we did is I did a splice joint to fix that truss. So that's all set. So now we're going to glue the wall back on. And we're also getting ready to get the roof all squared away up the top. This is the siding that we took off, and it was all rotted here, pretty much all around all three edges. It was pretty bad. So obviously we skinned it all off, shaved it down, and then we glued in new pieces. You can see all the glue on there anyways. But we glued all this in. This isn't going to get fully adhered like the ones we do with the rigid foam that we do. Well, all we're going to be able to do is just run a nice thick bead of caulking where the studs go and get it pressed in. That's about all we can do. You can't spray it on there because it's not going to stick to that in insulation. But again, this is what the customer just wanted it fixed so it wouldn't leak, and basic repairs. So anyhow, this is how we got it all together, and now we're gonna get ready to hang this and get it put in there. All the caulking we got on here. Oh well, it's adhesive, not caulking. We got it all on here. We got to get this lower end over here, but we're slobbering it on there. Oh, we got our back wall all glued on, and also we had to replace this back here. This was all loose. This is all new. All the sheathing all the way back there, and then the lower portion down here we had to fix. We glued that back. I don't know if I got a video on it. Sometimes they get ahead of me. And then we also did this side too. We had to put a new piece in here, all the way up there, because this is real floppy. So then we got our corner mold that's going to go in here. But all that is all tight now. Everything was good. I already showed you how we fixed all the truss. Now we get the windows in, lights on, all that jazz, and put this thing back together, get a roof on it. Well, we got our roof glued on our Sundance. You can see we got our protective strips all put in. Also along the edge here, we've got all that. So now we're going to roll it out. We've already got this side already done. The driver's side's already done. So we're just going to roll this out. Then we'll actually have to roll it with the heavy roller. Get the window in. And then now we've still got corner mold to put on here and on the other side over there. Otherwise, we're ready to move forward. We can start getting this down, and then we'll start bringing it together. We're all done with our Sundance. Goodbye, Sundance. I want to thank the customer for bringing the coach in for us to do it. Really appreciate the work. We put our logo on here, and then if he ever did decide to sell it or whatever, he doesn't have to worry about someone trying to talk him down to, because these RV roofs, as a rule, not ours, but as a rule, they're all junk. So at least they know who did it and when. And also it helps us keep track of the roof when it comes back for inspections if it's not performing well, which I've never had that happen, but I always err on the side of caution. You know, I like to get everything done 100%. Then you don't have to worry about it. Don't once you start skipping steps, and you know, then you always seem to go, you know, I should have, I could have, I better, I would have. Now you go back and do it again. We don't want to do that here. So we just do it thoroughly the first time. So we got the roof obviously all glued down. You can see all that. Got these boots all welded in around the ladder. So when you go to check these, we squeeze them like this. And if you see any breaching in there, you know, air pocket maybe pops or something, we leave the customer with some caulking so they can go back and kind of fill that in, at the risk of saying more on. But then we got our 2 strikes of caulking going all the way down this gutter right here. And then this is another insert trim that we use. This is mine here, well, the one that I get. I have to custom order all this stuff, so we don't sell anything here. Just keep that in mind. But this has a little track in it. See it? That little groove, and it fits right into that track. And the other thing is we glue every single screw. Every screw has got a little grommet of caulking around it. Then this just snaps in. That's what I like about it. It just zips right back in there. But then the water will drool down, and then it goes right into the gutter, where the other stuff they have kind of slips underneath that first track, and then water can get into the lower track. And then if you don't have the screws sealed, sometimes we see moisture in there. So we try to keep as much out. Obviously we want to keep all of it out, but you do the best you can. I mean, all right, so we got all that, and then we've got our stands on the back of the air conditioners, and we also have this counter flash in the front. So now when the rain comes down, up underneath here is a foam gasket. So if you don't have that, I don't want the rain to come down, especially as you're traveling, the wind blowing all of the, wow, my hands are dirty, blowing the water right back up into that foam gasket. So this is a piece of counter flash that we put on. So now the water will roll down, and I'll show you another counter flash that I build into all of these. But these are the ones that we do. So all of them have this counter flash on them right here, that little lip. So that has that, and that piece in the front goes below this right here. So now the water will go underneath it and travel away. So you can see we did the same with the refrigerator over there. Got the same counter flash. They all have it. So I designed all these. I designed every one of these for different applications. If you watch my videos, I've built some really wonky stuff, especially for like satellites and everything, but whatever it is, I'll fabricate it and put it all together. So we have that's the plumbing right there. We put a new one, you got the antenna back on. Again, that's in a boot, same thing. This is a solar fan, and there's an intake, and then you got another plumbing there, and all this is all heat welded. All this is heat welded. You can see some of the discoloration here. All of that is all heat welded all the way around. So what this fan does, a lot of times we've found that when the frost sits up on the roof on a cool morning, now the sun comes up, it'll evaporate that off. But what's up underneath also has that same moisture, okay? And then when the sun comes up, it condensates that moisture, so it'll roll down on the inside of the lens. And when it rolls down the inside of the lens, I don't want it to start affecting the curb. And if you didn't even have a curb, you still would probably have it hit the roof deck. A lot of times you'll have damage around here, and some of that's contributed to this, and also the way they seal them. But to prevent any of that, I designed these. This is a ventilation system. So this has a trough in it. There's a trough that runs right up underneath here, and it goes up over. When this kicks on, this is solar. So now the sun comes up, evaporates that off. Now you have what's inside there. I don't want that moisture sitting in there. So this will kick on because it's solar. So now the fan's going, and it'll draw the air from there, and it'll draw it up over the inner lens and come back and then exit, right? So that's how the fan works. And then inside, but now if this popped off, if you notice this off here, or you notice any leaks at all, you need to come up and check this and take one of these plumbing off and cap it right away. Cap it right away. Those plumbing right there, if you took that one off, it's only going to go into the holding tank. You're not going to get enough water to fill up a holding tank even in the heaviest rain. So, but you do want to keep the water out of here. So I just put that cap on there, and then find a new cap, and you can put it back on over there if you had to. So we got all this all heat welded in. So we are all done. We're all set, ready to go. So we got 2 strikes of caulking all the way down here. So when we put this on, put the gutter on, we have a sealant that we use in the back, an adhesive sealant. Once that gets on there, burps up, we strike it down. Then when that cures, we go over it with a first strike. That's a real thin strike to really get inside we really try to force it down because some of these have a little waviness and everything. Nothing's perfect. We want to make sure that's sealed. When that cures, then we go back with another lick. So we got that on there. So there's 2 strikes. And if you've ever used a caulking gun and you start squeezing, you'll hear it pop and crackle. You just injected an air bubble. So what are the chances of having an air bubble one over the other when you put the second strike on, right? That probably hit the lottery a couple of times before that would ever happen. But so we got 2 strikes on everything. I showed you got all the screws sealed, and she's ready to go. She's ready to go. Now the lens here, you can see there's no screws in here. I don't if you're doing these are not DIY channel, but I'll give you a tip: do not put screws in these. You can put this down with a urethane adhesive and glue it in, just much like a windshield, right? Glue it down, and there's a lot of preparation to it, but you know, anyhow, that's what we do, because these things expand and contract too much. I've drilled these holes out. I've done a lot of stuff to try them, and you have to get the screw just perfectly centered. So I bought a self-centering bit, boom, drill it, so we can put all this. Still get these little tiny hair fractures, especially in the corners. You'll have little hair fractures. So I just glue them all down now. We don't, and you can see the thickness of the caulking that we got underneath here, that adhesive caulk that we got. It's like a gasket, really, but that's on there. So it'd be a lot of work to take it off and replace it. It really would. So, and this is a Lexan glass. It's a good piece. So it's got some strength to it. So other than that, we are ready to go. We showed you that we fixed the back wall. We already got all that done. We got all that glued back together on this side. Then we put a new piece in here. See if I go around here. Maybe the camera's getting all wonky. So we put a new piece all the way down there. You see we rebuilt all around the back wall. Obviously sealed all around the lights. Everything around the back has obviously been sealed. And then we put a gutter on the back. This has kind of like a sloped roof, so we put a gutter on there to prevent that water from running down there. We just put these little spouts. I just had them in stock, so I just threw them in there. And better than having nothing there and having it shoot out. And the other ones we had were kind of big, and they just didn't look right. So we just put those on there. Also saved them a buck or two. So we also had to do the same to this. On this side, fixed the pylon, opened it up, got a new piece behind it, and glued it all back together. So she's ready to go. We replaced all that corner mold too. We put a new piece on there. He had some angle iron on there. If you remember the first part of the video, he had angle iron on there. Then we put the same insert trim in. So now the roof system itself, this is a 60 mil commercial grade. This is TPO, it's thermoplastic. So this is the same product you're gonna find on an office building, a library, a hospital, a restaurant, same exact material. I buy all my material at a commercial roofing warehouse. That's where I get it. So nothing on this coach at all is RV except for the pieces and parts like the covers and the skylight, you know, things like that. But everything else that we put on here is all commercial grade. So this is a piece of the roofing, and if you look at those little squares in there, there's a mesh that's built into this, and that little mesh, that screen, that scrim that's in there, that helps give it a lot of strength against hail and tree branches and things like that. So, and it also makes it a lot more rigid of a product. So, you know, this isn't going to lay down like some cheap old EPDM rubber. It's not going to. You know, and on some other ones we've done, we really had to work to get it to lay down and look good because it likes two-dimensional, but not three. This one wasn't too bad, but we've had some other ones, if you're watching some other videos, where we've had to actually put it down in sections because all of that, you know, margin for error that comes in, it's kind of like when you wrap a golf ball with a piece of paper, you got all those wrinkles. It's almost the same principle, obviously not so small, but that's what we come up against. But this is a super strong product, pound for pound, dollar for dollar. This is a great roof system. I don't do spray systems here. I don't do coatings either. We have some information like that on our website, and because coatings aren't going to really work on an RV, they just don't. That's why I don't do them. And also the with those spray-on roofs, we did a coach that had a spray-on roof, and you know, it doesn't stick to a lot of things. There's a lot of preparation in those, but nonetheless, you don't know what's underneath these. And if you watch some of my videos, you'll see we do uncover a lot of problems when we take the plywood off, or the OSB, and replace it with plywood. But we take all that off, and we'll find that the duct lines, the AC duct lines aren't taped up properly, or we'll find electrical that's compromised, or could be compromised. And we do put protective pieces in for the electrical and so forth. So you'll see that on some other videos. I can't remember what happened with this one. We do them so much that honestly, they start to look the same. And But anyhow, so going along that premise of how this wants to lay, like you can see a couple of wrinkles here. You're not getting that out, not on this material. It's just because now we got a transition going down, but it still doesn't look bad. It is what it is. So we got a couple little burps here and there, but it'll relax a little bit, obviously, when it gets into the sun, because we're in the cooler season now. But now washing this down, all you need to do is use some dish soap, wash it twice a year, or you can bring it to a truck wash, tell them to jump up there and wash the thing down. You can pressure wash it. It's no problem. This is a commercial grade roof. It's going to handle it. You don't need to put a cover on it either. You don't need to put a coating on it. It's done. This is done. So the warranty, the way that works, I like to see these coaches come back 30 days. Really what my goal is, I want to see them moving. So I want to see them move, shake, twist, rattle, roll. And then I want to go over and look at all the caulking, make sure that nothing has gotten breached because of that movement. So, and if there is, obviously we'll adjust all that. And then we check all the welds again. So what we do is go around, we have a little tool like this. We'll go around and check all these welds. So if the customer does this himself, then, and he, for instance, if this tool were to go up inside there underneath, we leave them with primer and we leave them with some caulking so they can clean that out, put the primer on there, and then they can caulk it. And then when they come back, we'll take care of it. But, or even if there's a hole in the roof. So there's going to be a clip at the end of this video of how to do a patch. And then again, we leave them with a care package. In the care package has one of these tools similar to this. This one is a fold-up type. The other one isn't. But we leave them with caulking. We leave them with, you know, a few things like that. So if in an emergency they had to do a repair, they're out camping and pow, here comes a Widowmaker, then at least they can get up there and patch it real quick and keep that water out, right? So again, we thank all of you for watching. But keep in mind, these are not DIY channels. And if you get some tips, it's awesome. There's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that we do that I possibly couldn't video all of it. I really couldn't. But and also we don't sell anything. Everybody tends to hit me up and say, hey, you know, can I buy this? Can I buy that? Can I buy this? I don't sell anything here at all. There's nothing we sell. We're just too small of a shop to be able to get that kind of inventory to even try to sell it. And then it's just additional paperwork for me to have to deal with in regards to sales tax and this and that. Now I just don't get into all that because again, it just takes a lot of time for us for, you know, what it is. But again, we appreciate y'all watching, and we'll see you on the next package. Right. So in our care package, we have caulking, we got primer, we have got 2 patches. Those are heat patches. We got a patch peel and stick patch. We got a checker tool. We've got a magnet. And the rest of this is just pens, keychains, brush, nozzle. Okay, so if we have a hole in the roof, it will simulate a hole. You can do hole simulations. We say we got a hole there. Here's your tree branch come through and you're like, oh man, I got a hole in my roof, it's leaking. So what you want to do, and it's raining out. Right now it's raining, you're like, crap, I gotta stop that leak. You want to get in there, and if you can't get that nozzle in there, don't worry about it. Make it a little bigger. What you try and do, you need to get up underneath the roofing, like this. This is what we need to do, get up underneath the roofing. Then you're going to take and you're going to put this up inside there, and you're going to squeeze, 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 squeeze. Hopefully this thing is plugged up. There it goes. Just squeeze, squeeze. You're going to try and get up underneath this part too. Squeeze up underneath there. Get some more underneath there. Well, we are getting this thing all boogered up. Then what we're going to do, you're going to push it together. See how it oozes out? That's sealed. You're done. This is a moisture cured product. So what? It's a hot mess. Looks terrible. Who cares? Keep the water out. So now, the next day, we're going to go up there, and that's going to be cured looking like that. So we're going to take a knife, and you just shave it down. Just shave it down with a knife. I'm just going to obviously wipe this off. Now you say, hey, I want something a little better than that. So what we're going to do is get some cleaner. This is a terrible rag. You got another one. You got one on you? Oh, get a rag, get a rag, get a rag, get a rag, get a rag.
gonna talk about, man?
Nope, just leave it alone.
Oh.
Leave it alone right now. We're recording now? Are we on?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Alright, so now we cleaned it off with a knife. I just washed that off because it's still wet. Take that off. So now we got a patch. This is a peel and stick patch. We're going to take that, we're going to center it over there. Just take a pen and go around like this. I like to kind of put a dash like that so I know who's where, what, and where, and how. So now there's what I got. So in the package we got primer. We also have a brush. You're going to take that, you're going to go all inside the square. You're also going to go outside this square about 3/8 of an inch. Outside about 3/8 of an inch or so. Once you get that, there's a film on the back. You peel the film, now you know which side you are, see, because there's your marks. And you peel that film back. Get the fat fingers in there to get the film off of this thing. This is just a regular roof tape. That's all it is. We put them in all the care packages. Get that daggone thing off of there. Probably use some fingernails. Probably help. Come on. There it is. Okay. Oop, there it is. Now you got the film. We'll take that film. So now we're going to line it back up with this. We already got the primer under there. You just peel the film back, and as you do, you just rub it down like this. Sometimes that film will get a little stuck in there. This is just a butyl. You just kind of try to keep it as even as you can, as flat as you can. Boom, you're done. There it is. So now, out here, this is where your primer is. You put the primer on there. You got primer there, and now you're going to put primer here. You want to prime all this area with your brush. Prime all that. Then you're going to come back. Once you get it all primed, then you're going to put a little bit of caulking on it, just like this. That's simple. It doesn't all sit in there. You can always take your finger and go around it if you want. We're trying to obviously stop a leak and make one of. There's going to be a little more permanent of a patch than just that plug that we did when it was raining. So now that we got that all done, the whole purpose of it is this part here. This part underneath here, that's a butyl. When the sun hits that, if you didn't have the caulking on there, it will cause it to release and curl up just like I'm doing here. And it'll start coming loose. That's why you need the primer. That's why when you prime it, you're going to prime on top of this because nothing will stick to it. Nothing, the caulking will not stick to this patch and it won't stick to the roof unless you use the primer. That's how you do a patch. Ta-da! All done.